Hey, welcome everybody. I'm glad you joined me today for yet another episode, a midweek episode, matter of fact, of 5 Minutes with Phil. And thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope that these moments are a great blessing to you, and I'm glad that we can all be a part of it together. Now, today's a great lesson. It's a lesson that I have learned over the years. It's important. It's nothing that we should ever short sell in our lives. I've spoken to people sometimes who think that, for example, my preaching. Okay, if I'm preaching to a small group of people, is it really worth my energy or my time to only preach or teach to a small amount of people rather than hundreds or thousands of people? And here's what I've learned. It's right from the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 10. Look at the screen. Here's a big lesson for us today. Jesus said this: if you are faithful in little things, you'll be faithful in large ones. But if you are dishonest in little things, you won't be honest with greater responsibilities. Here's what I know. Whether you are giving a presentation or doing a job for one person or for thousands, God deserves your best effort. Because inevitably what you're doing, you're working for an audience and the approval of one. Yeah, you might have a boss and you might have an audience and you might have this or that, but overwhelmingly you're doing this for the Lord. And if we cannot be trusted by God with the small things. For example, maybe you have a smaller role at your workplace and you have aspirations of being the boss. You want to be the manager, the CEO, whatever the case might be. Well, I firmly believe, Christian, that God's not going to give you that large of a role or that big of a responsibility if you're not faithful first with the small stuff that He's called you to do. If you can't be faithful when you're working part-time at that job in that company, then how in the world can you be faithful and how in the world can you be trusted if you have aspirations to do something larger? Preachers, I want to speak to you. If you can't give God your all when only a handful of people show up, then you cannot expect God to put you in a situation where you're preaching to hundreds, maybe even thousands. Folks, listen to me. I have spoken in crowds of many hundreds, and I've spoken in crowds of just 3 or 4 or 5. And the test for me is, will I be as passionate and will I be as faithful with what God's called me to do with that group of 3 as I would be for a group of 3,000? And I want to encourage you, again, this isn't just for preachers. Whatever role God's called you to be in, no matter how small, no matter how large, be faithful with it. Here's what I know. Promotion comes from the Lord. Promotion comes from the Lord. God will promote. God will move you from where you are to where you need to be if you trust Him and follow His steps and do things His way. But in the meantime, God has called you to be faithful. I'm reminded again of the story of Joseph in the Old Testament. Before Joseph was given the position of being second in charge of all of Egypt, he was faithful while he was in the dungeon, in prison. I encourage you today, be faithful, give God everything wherever He has called you to be, and He'll trust you with bigger. All right? Gonna let you go. God bless you. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.